Welcome back to Open Studio and Wednesday night. What's happening, everyone? How are you all doing? I have taken care of my phone. So last week I forgot to silence it, so you got to listen to it go off all episode, but that is taken care of. The other thing I want to show you real quick before we get going, you guys are equally as close. So here is what the setup looks like. And you can see the cameras, gosh, I don't even know. It's what, like 6 inches away, and yeah, it's that's what behind the scenes look like. All right, let's get to it. So we got this guy going, and I've got the windows in on him pretty well now, but there are actually two buildings here, so I want to kind of make that work. They're the same color, really. There's a little bit of a difference between them, but it's not crazy. So the roofs are different. So let's still use that, like the lumber color, the brownish color, because that really worked well last week. Oh, it's gonna be lighter than that. So we'll come over here and mess around with this. Figure out where this building, it's actually more in line with this one right here. Oh, it's way too light, but that's okay. How are you all doing on this fine Wednesday evening? Hopefully well. Hopefully your week is going good. All right, so I'm going to take some of this darker gray. I'm just going to I've got a lot of, there's a little bit of water in this brush, just some reducer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just spread it out so that I get kind of a dry brush thing going on. And it's thin, so I know it's going to be transparent. So that way I can go over this line that's too bright. There we go. Much better. Okay, we'll just continue that on. Yeah, these two buildings look like they're attached, even though they're different. Now they might not be attached; they might just be like right on top of one another. But they got something going on there. Yeah, much better. Okay, that's good. And then there are windows in both of those. So I know the windows on this building line up with obviously the ones we just put in last week, so we're gonna keep that going. I don't want to do this. How do I want to do this? Again, you know what I'm going to do? I talked about this last week with the shakiness of the Visionaire, and again, I don't want to make it sound like this is a major design flaw. It's really not. It just doesn't play well with working super small. Now, for me, it doesn't really matter. Like when I'm working on it, it doesn't, when it shakes or whatever, as long as, it's solid when I start working, which it is, it's fine. But the way, if you're thinking about a Visionaire and you want a version of this bench that I have here, but you want it really, really solid, then just go for the airbrush workstation. It doesn't mount on the single post. It has legs on the back. It's exactly the same as what I have here. It just has posts that like legs that come off the back, and there are two of them, and it's really solid. So it works really well. Eventually, I'll get one because I want a mobile setup, and that's going to be part of it because it folds up, just like the legs fold up, so you can just have it be flat, which will be really neat. So I'm eventually going to get one, but yeah, I like I said, I bought last week. I got this version of it because I was looking down the road at the versatility of being able to replace whatever the jig is, with something else. The reality of the situation was, though, I use this more than anything, so it's still good. Like I said, I wouldn't trade it, and I can convert this this station into the one with legs just by buying the extra parts. So it's not a, it's not a tragedy by any stretch. All right, that's good. I like that. I should have done those other windows on this other building, so we'll do that too. Yeah, I've had a lot of, I've been fortunate. I've had a lot of, opportunities to get drafting tables, and then I got a set, literally like 3 really, really, really nice drafting tables. Big ones, 4 by 5 feet kind of thing, or 3 by 5. So I've been super fortunate, but if I was going to suggest a setup for someone, this Visionaire has basically solved everything. And it's, on the grand scheme of things, it's not very expensive at all. Just works super well with the magnets and everything. So everything that I've kind of do now, like when I first started airbrushing, I just had the drafting table, and so dumb. I had one of the drafting tables, the one that I use all the time, or used all the time, had a regular, green drafting table mat on it, and it was wood underneath and all that. So in order to get stuff to stay, I used push pins in it, which was stupid because I'm making holes in the top of the drafting table. Now, in the end, ultimately, it didn't matter, because what I ended up doing with that drafting table is laminating a piece of powder-coated steel over the entire top of it. And, I was using magnets at the time, so like I am now. So that top was basically just covered, all the holes were covered with the steel. And it's still that way today. It's amazing. So the other two have regular wooden tops, and I ended up refinishing them. One I use as my computer desk, and the other is kind of a workbench. So, all right, I like those two. Those two came out good. There's actually a lot going on the roof for this one, so we'll get that done. It's a lot lighter. But I've had, but aside from those 2 or 3 workbenches, I've had 2 other of the, just the regular, like the smaller drafting table art desk kind of thing. I've had a few of those. I had good friends give me one, which was really nice. It was this thing folded up. I ended up getting rid of it just because of the moves and everything, and but it was really neat. It was decent size, about 2 feet by maybe 3 feet, 3.5 feet. But the legs folded up, so you could actually just, put this entire thing away, which was really nice. So, all right, that's good. I like that. I like it. And then I can't even remember where I got it from. I want to say my in-laws at the time got it for me, another drafting table, which is also not with us anymore. I got rid of that a little while ago because, again, I just didn't have, you run out of room, it's like, yeah, it's nice to kind of have all this stuff, but just run out of room. All right, the next thing in this block would be these buildings up here, but I'm not going to do those because I don't want to go too far north on this painting. I want to kind of run across and do the typewriter thing, I think. So we'll do this little guy right here. Yeah, we'll do this since he's already pretty much gray. And then that'll bring us down to this road down here, which is here. I got to remember that when I get down there. Yeah, so I don't want to go with these windows. I don't want to go all the way down, because what I'm looking at is the road. We'll get to that too. We might get to that this episode, depending on how this building goes. What am I doing? Yeah, light gray. All right, these windows here on this little building, they only go halfway, but I'm going to put them all the way across. I'll show you why in a second. So we'll get all these windows in. There we go. And then maybe the one down at the bottom before the road. Here we go. Okay, so the reason why I did them all the way across is because half of them, like I said, half of them are blocked out because it's, you know, gray. So I'm going to grab that same building color, that brownish building color that I had before, this one. So it's so much easier to just put a darker line right up this building like this than to try to cut all those little lines off at the halfway mark. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier to do this one line and then just cut them all off at the same. This is really thin, so I can let that dry. But you get the idea. So while that's drying, I'll do the back side of this building. It's got some neat things going on, like little balcony thingies. So we'll get those too. Just for fun, I'll throw on the top of this, even though I'm not doing that building yet. Oh, I was looking at the wrong building again. See, that's what I was just talking about. I was looking at the one we did last week in the photograph, so that's okay. Not terrible. No one's calling me out on that one. All right, great. So put the details on the side of this thing, and then we'll hit that other thing again. And you can see 4 windows. 2, 3, 4. There we go. Good, 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 good. Actually, you know what? That dried a little bit darker, so that's a good thing. So we may have to go over it one more time. Yep. Good. Oh, there are windows here too. Okay, good. Let's get the, before I forget, let's get the, whatever those little balconies are in the back. They just kind of pop out here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 that you can see there too. Maybe a couple little bright highlights on the top of this building too. Okay, good. That seems like it fades in a weird way too. We're going to correct that. See how I did this building last week, but see how this kind of like the windows go beyond here. So there are some windows on the next building over, but I'm going to use a little bit of artistic license here and just cut those off right there. That will keep this building upright where it should be. All right, so we got windows. That building's pretty much done now. We just got a little bit of windows to do on this connecting building, which is going to be light too, but not as light. So we'll go with this one. Oh, these are no, it's actually a lot darker. So we'll grab some of this. Subtle, I like it. Yep. We are down to the road. Yay. All right, good. That was a good block. That was a real good block. All right. Yeah, let's get this road in so we know where we're going with that. So the road, there's a road, and so the road is here, and then the roof, I think that's a roof. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a parking lot. This thing right here. They're all the same color, so that works out good. Why I didn't get that originally, well, I probably couldn't see it. We are going to airbrush that. Oh yeah, I can see that. What do you know? Huh. I'm going to use my sacrificial one from last week. This I'm going to just kind of like, you know, block in a little bit. I'm probably going to end up painting a lot of it. This here so you guys can see what I'm cutting out. I just replaced the blade on my knife, so we have a new blade. I gotta get a new cutting mat though. These cutting mats are great. They're the art tool ones, but they're the translucent ones, and they're just right. What happens with a lot of cutting mats? Now I was going to put a link to it, but they're getting hard to find. I don't know if they discontinued them or what, but basically what you want to find, and it takes a little bit of looking, but what you want to find is a cutting mat that's on the softer side. You don't want a really hard cutting mat. So the ones you can get at Michael's and Joann's and things like that, those are textile cutting mats, you know, for doing stuff like that. They're great, but they're very hard. And what happens is you can't get these really small cuts, or it's more difficult to get these small cuts on something like that because the cutting mat has no give to it. So you end up just blowing through a lot of blades. Now, it's again, for someone who's working with fabric, they're great. That's what you want. You want, you know, be able to make, you know, hard contact with the cutting mat so that you make a clean cut on the fabric. For this really super delicate stuff, you don't want that. You know, I find that the softer mats allow for much smaller cutting because it's just got a little bit of give to it. You know, it's not like snapping off the blade. So all I can say is to just try them out to find the soft ones. They don't often say that they're soft or not, which is unfortunate. But like I said, they yeah, that's what you want. And what happens is, like, this has paint on it. You can see the gray paint on it, but it's not only the paint. It's when you make multiple cuts in this, it's self-healing, so it will, you know, it'll kind of keep going for a while, but they tend to almost, the only way I can describe it is they feel like they dry out. And once they do that, they become hard. Like, here's a good example of one area that's like really worn. You know, this area here is super, like, that's super hard. Where some of the other areas that I haven't cut too much on, which are hard to tell, like up in the corner here, those are still, you know, like soft. So anyway, there's your cutting mat info for the day. So there's my road. Yeah, there's my road and my little extra bits. So again, I've already got that courtyard kind of blocked in, so that's good. Oh yeah, I've got the road too. What do you know? Heh. Wow. Better than I thought. Good. That's actually in really good shape. What do I got? I need the black, which I have in this brush already. So we're just going to re-emphasize this. It's great. It does look like I have a little window there, though, on the road, which is not what we want. Excellente. There are some super fine lines on this road too, which will be fun. Let's see what we can do. Yes, that's good. Okay, so again, I didn't read that correctly when I was painting it. I came down way too far, which is the beauty of using the cutouts. It really helps you kind of, you know, straighten out what you think you see as opposed to what's really there. So again, I came down way too far. I thought the buildings came down a lot farther, but they didn't. So I'm going to straighten out the road here. So it's parallel with the top of the buildings. Excellent. My first line is over here. So there's, maybe it's a sidewalk. I don't know. All right, so we'll grab a gray. Now, these lines here, the ones I'm about to put in, They're super small. They're really, really tiny. So I'm going to try, but the likelihood of me getting them in, see, that's too thick. That's fine though. I was expecting that. So since that's how it's going to work, we'll just do the other one. Just going to make sure they're parallel because they are on the street. They bump in here. Yeah, this is trash, but it's okay. It's all right. Because we're going to fix them like we fixed the windows. So there you go. I've got the lines in now, or I've got, the gist of that. So now I gotta thin them out. I gotta straighten them out. So I'm going to use just the regular. Actually, I'll probably use this Blumber color again because it seems to be working well. There's a lot of brown in this, but should be fine. All right, so let's thin these out now. I think what I'm going to do is I got to go this way, and you guys got to be able to see this. So let me move some stuff around here. Yeah, I think that's not gonna work for me. I gotta move everything. It's all right. You guys are worth it. There we go. That's what I want. Again, this is all range of motion stuff. My hand is gonna work best this way. So I've moved the painting so that is, gives me the best shot. Because what I gotta do is I gotta use the dark now to thin down this line. So I'm just gonna paint up against the edge of this and reduce its size. Again, I'm going to make it a light colored line that I really, is really difficult to get in one shot because it's so thin. I'm also painting the other side of it. I shouldn't from this angle because a lot can go wrong with that. The brush can kick out and just ruin it, but once you get used to doing this, you can take some chances like I just did. And you know what's going to happen. This chair is so creaky now. What happens is when it gets creaky like this, I know it's going to break. But again, it's one of those Amazon specials, so I'm not expecting much. Okay, so now we're going to get the little inset here. Same thing. I'm going to just kind of sneak up on this and thin it out. And make that little line way smaller than I could have ever painted it. So again, I'm getting this line by painting everything around it. And, obviously the paintbrush stroke that I'm putting down right now is much bigger than, the little white stroke. So, but it's okay because it blends in with the street and you can't see the rest of that paintbrush stroke. It's just the edge that I'm concentrating. So that's good. Now I'm going to do this one. See if I can straighten it out a little bit, meaning make them more parallel. Oh, that's beautiful. That's lovely. And trust me, there's a lot of times that I'd be doing this and then I just accidentally, the brush kicks out and you wipe out that little line you're trying to clean up. It happens a lot. So unfortunately, you just repeat the whole process again. All right, so that is great. However, those are too bright. But too bright is super easy to fix. Yeah, those are way too bright. And the way I'm going to do that is I could go over it with a really thin black, do some washes on it. But I still have black in the airbrush. So I'm just going to, again, take advantage of the airbrush here and just really lightly kind of just go over them. I'm not super worried about overspray on the other buildings because I'm going to be painting them anyway. And the buildings I just did, these guys here, they need that grounding anyway. So a little bit of black on the bottom of those is actually going to help. But there you go. Those lines are like tucked in there. And like I said, the likelihood of me pulling those lines off, those are probably, well, let's see. Hold on. What'd I do for you guys? Just ripped a hair out of my head. So there's one of my hairs. And so that line is, just about the same as a human hair. You know what I mean? So to paint that, a line, yes, I did rip that out of my head. To paint that line on there accurately, straight, and in one shot, from me is not, I mean, it happens, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, it needs to be adjusted like that. All right. Where the heck are we now? That was good. That was good. Again, we're moving. I kind of, when I airbrushed, I lost the windows in this middle building. This middle building right here. So we're just going to kind of reclaim those. Those were pretty subtle anyway. We want those a little bit brighter. Okay, so yeah, because you can actually, in the photo, you can really see them. So now that I know where the road is, it makes it easy. Probably should have done the road first. This is too thin. Yeah, if I had done the road first, it would have made those windows a lot easier, because I wouldn't have had to like try to figure out where to stop, What is going on here? It's like exactly the same color. There we go. Oh, that's better. Oh, that's lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I'm happy with that. There we go. So that's one more little block. All right, what time do we have? We have about 4 minutes, 3 minutes. So that's perfect. Well, let's just keep rolling then. So we're going to jump down. The next group is this group here. So as we move left across this painting, yeah, let's do that. So first thing, this roof here is really bright white. So again, it's the question: do you grab that cutout again? Do I, grab the white and airbrush it in, or do I just paintbrush it? And I'm going to paintbrush it in this instance, because the roof of this is pretty small. And there's also some stuff going on with it, like, little air conditioning, whatever's. So this one I can get away with just hand painting it. Again, if it was, bigger and I needed it to be smooth, I wouldn't be lazy. I would grab the airbrush and just drop it in there. But this one is going to work out. There we go. Good. And this building continues on. It's a white building, which is nice. Roof on this one too. So yeah, we'll keep picking at this until we run out of time. So while I'm kind of doing this, I want to throw it out there, and I'm going to keep throwing it out there because, gosh, it means so much to me that you guys are here. So I hate to sound like a broken record with that, but it does. It really, really does. I selfishly feel like I'm doing this painting on Open Studio for me. It's not flashy. It's not quick. It's a lot of nitpicky stuff, but I really, really want one of these cityscapes to be completely done on an Open Studio. So I'm just super happy that you guys are hanging out, and that you guys are enjoying it, because that means a lot. Really does. I feel like I was rushing that. Yeah, well, that's got to be there. All right, so these are the windows. This white is not happy. That's fine though. It's fine. Everything's fine. Yeah, I think that's probably a good place to stop before I start making mistakes. Wrestling with the white. But there you go. Okay, so let's jump back to the full view and you get a good idea of how that looks now. And yeah, we're coming along. All right, so you guys know what to do. Please hit that like and subscribe. And if you'd like to support us in a more direct financial way, you can become a member like these lovely people. And also, if you just like to support the channel in general, just again, that like button does a lot for that. If you share and drop a comment in below, that all helps a lot too. So I really, really appreciate it. All right, so for Steve Leahy and Through Lachlan's Eyes, that's what we got. I will catch you guys next week. Thanks a lot.